Manny Pacquiao has ignited fresh buzz around his return, teasing a glimpse of his explosive form in a recent training video ahead of his title clash with Mario Barrios. The comeback has already drawn reactions across the fight world, with Joe Rogan weighing in on the anticipation surrounding Pacquiao's return to the spotlight. Building on the growing excitement, Manny Pacquiao has officially launched his training camp, sending shockwaves through boxing, with clips showcasing his trademark lightning-fast combinations and pinpoint accuracy that defined his legendary career. At 46, the Filipino icon is turning back the clock, with footage capturing his signature flurries and relentless work ethic. The early glimpses from camp have reignited excitement among fans, as Pacquiao looks to defy age and expectations once again. In addition, these new training clips reveal a masterclass in speed and precision, showcasing blistering hand speed, razor-sharp combinations, and laser-focused accuracy. The 46-year-old legend left no doubt as to why he remains one of boxing's most revered figures. The display served as a powerful reminder of the elite skill set that made Pacquiao a global icon and multi-division world champion. Adding to the conversation, Joe Rogan remarked on the unusual physicality of Pacquiao, pointing out his massive calves, comparing them to thighs in size and strength. George Cambazos added that Pacquiao's powerful lower body is a product of his environment, shaped by years of training in rugged terrain that built his explosiveness from the ground up.
Legend, and he's such an unusual guy. You know what's crazy about him is his calves.
Yeah,
when you look
massive.
At that, they're giant. Yeah. They're like a thigh.
And I know the reason why, because in General Santos, the mountains that he runs and that steep hill, that's why they're so big, because he's always constantly running the mountains. And I was doing the mountain runs with him.
Yeah.
My calves started getting bigger and bigger. But I understand, why his calves are huge. But he's always bouncing, he's always moving around.
Yes.
Like, he'll bounce for like 20-something rounds. You know, he'll do his pads and he's jumping up and down. And
continuing his praise, Joe Rogan tipped his hat to boxing legend Manny Pacquiao, saluting a career that defied logic and spanned 8 different weight classes. Rogan underscored the Filipino icon's astonishing legacy, pointing to his clash with then unbeaten Keith Thurman. Even in his 40s, Pacquiao turned back the clock, outclassing the younger champion and proving that time hadn't dulled his speed, power, or ring IQ.
And beat Keith Thurman at 40 years old, like, god damn, this guy's great. I mean, just look at his career with 8 different weight classes, world titles in 8 different weight classes. 40 years old, beats Keith Thurman, who's in his prime.
Right.
Crazy. I mean, what a man. I mean, what a world champion. And
I didn't even see the fight.
Well, when he dropped him with that right hook early in the first, you're like, oh,
it's like a right
shit.
jab.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. No, it was like he jumped in with the left and then followed by like a straight right.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It's like, wow. Well, I could see that at this stage of his career. But, you know, Keith Thurman is a murderous puncher.
Right.
Which was one of the reasons why it's more impressive that he beat him. And so
furthermore, Rogan delved into Pacquiao's persona, how the ever-smiling, soft-spoken warrior remains unshaken even in the face of trash talk. According to Rogan, Pacquiao's kindness outside the ropes is almost surreal, but once the bell rings, he flips a switch. The grinning gentleman vanishes, replaced by a relentless force of nature who tears through opponents with ferocity and precision. It's this contrast that makes Pacquiao not just a boxing legend, but a psychological enigma in the fight game.
Yeah, I mean, he's an interesting guy, man, because he's so friendly.
Right.
You know, like Pat, even like when people are trash talking, he's like smiling, and then he gets in that ring.
Kick your ass later.
Different dude. Right. Once he steps through that roast, like this is a whole different set of rules he's flying with.
Like,
he's a killer pool player. Did you know that about Pacquiao?
No, I didn't.
Like world class. Like he could play pool professionally. And coming back from defeats too. I mean, he's a guy that's had his downs. Yeah. He's had his ups and his downs. And he always smiling and always friendly to people. It's like he's so admirable just as a human being.
That said, Rogan pointed out that if Pacquiao ever steps back into the ring, it won't be for legacy, it'll be for the massive payday. A comeback could easily net him $100 million, making the lure of one last blockbuster fight hard to ignore.
Here it is, an opportunity for Manny Pacquiao to make a load of money. I mean, that's how I look at it. I look at it for Manny to make $100 million. But you'd have to sell the public. I mean, after the Keith Thurman fight, he has shown that he's still like a legit world beater.
However, Wade Concept criticized Pacquiao's return, calling it a bad idea given his retirement and long period of inactivity. He firmly stated that Manny doesn't belong in the ring anymore and warned that he could get seriously hurt. Still, he made it clear that his concerns don't take away from Pacquiao's remarkable achievements in the sport.
And then out of nowhere, the WBC decides they want their welterweight champion, Mario Barrios, to defend his belt against Manny Pacquiao. And about 7 to 8, maybe 9, 10 years ago, I would have said hells yeah if we had a Manny Pacquiao championship fight. But Manny's been retired for 4 years. He's 46 years old. His last fight was in 2021 and he lost to Ugas in a unanimous decision. I watched his exhibition bout against the kickboxer guy in Japan. That didn't look good. This is a world championship level fight against a sitting world champion, and Manny does not belong in there. And again, I'm worried that he's going to get hurt back. It's been a while. And this is not me discounting who I think is one of the greatest boxers ever and has an argument to be the greatest ever, because what did he won world championships in how many different divisions? 8, 9, something crazy like that. There'll never be anybody like Manny Pacquiao. But
in contrast, George Kambosos weighed in with high praise, stating that Manny Pacquiao's achievements are simply untouchable. While fans may hope to see records broken in the future, Kambosos made it clear Pacquiao is a once-in-a-lifetime fighter whose legacy stands alone.
13 or 14 world titles.
Crazy.
It will never be done again.
Crazy.
And as much as you want to see records broken, and I want to break records, that man is a one of one.
He's a one of one.
Yeah.
I mean, when he knocked down Thurman in that fight, I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
This guy's 40 years old and still can crack and still as fast as lightning.
Yeah, the power that he possesses, but it's not a thumping power. It's that explosive speed, that explosive power, the footwork he gets in position. And all of a sudden, he's landed 3, 4, 5 shots and then he's angled off. A lot like I did in my fight against Lopez. And he really is an unbelievable person, unbelievable athlete, and a legend of the sport. I think as time progresses, people are really gonna appreciate his greatness. I learned the 1%ers, the extra bit to do the extra rounds. Usually before the sparring with Manny Pacquiao, you do your 8 rounds or your 10 rounds of pads and your sparring, but that's it. You do your ab work and you finish. With him, he does his pad work, he does his sparring, but then he's on the bag, he's on the shadow boxing, he's there doing the pad work. So that extra rounds just builds that conditioning and that stamina. And that's what I just found, that push more rounds. If the body can keep going, push more and more.
However, Sean Porter echoed this reverence, but offered a grounded take on the return, saying he'll either come in fast and pull off a vintage win or fall short trying. He highlighted Pacquiao's lightning-quick left hand, calling it faster than most fighters' right, a weapon that still sets him apart even at this stage of his career.
It's so hard because he is Manny Pacquiao, right? And so it's kind of is what it is. He's either going to come to the ring and be able to be fast enough to get off the shit that he used to get off on. And if he does, he clocks him and he knocks him out. What I know, without going into really deep detail, that left hand against that right hand, his left hand always gets there quicker than the other guy's right hand. Me and Manny, we had some wars. We had some good sparring sessions.
That's some good work, man.
We had some really good sparring sessions, yeah. But I, again, like, I had the X factor. I was just as quick as him, just as fast as him. And after the difference with a sparring session and the fight, you get to learn this guy. You get to see that rhythm. That was why I felt like Manny was gonna beat Keith. I felt like On the night.
Meanwhile, Chris Algieri, who fought Pacquiao over a decade ago, spoke on the legend's return, noting his time spent with him in and out of the ring. He acknowledged Pacquiao's legendary status and how Mauricio is using that to drive the sport, allowing him to bypass rankings. However, Algieri also criticized the move, pointing out that active contenders are now being forced to step aside for someone who hasn't fought in years.
So, yeah, I mean, I fought Pacquiao 11 years ago now. It's crazy. It feels like it was yesterday. And yes, I spent time with him in the ring, but I also spent time in the lead up to the fight. I've called his fight since as a commentator. I've interviewed him in fighter meetings. I've been around Manny Pacquiao quite a bit over the years. And, you know, you mentioned celebrity has its advantages, right? But he's not just a celebrity. He's legendary. He's a legend in our sport. And that's where Mauricio Sulaiman is going with the WCs. Hey, someone of his stature, when they come back, they can get ranked. They don't have to be active. It's Manny Pacquiao. We're going to give him that grace. You got guys who are literally banking their entire lives on these situations, getting title fights. And now they have to kind of take a seat to someone who hasn't fought in 4.5 years. But again, it's Manny Pacquiao. At the end of the day, what really matters, though, is the money. Manny Pacquiao brings in so much money and eyes and attention. He is a global star. He is not just a local celebrity. He is not just a boxing celebrity. He is a globally recognized human being.
Adding to the debate, Robert Garcia warned that the upcoming fight demands attention, pointing out that Mario Barrios might be the easiest of the current champions, possibly the reason behind Manny's decision to make a comeback. Still, Garcia stressed that Barrios is a powerful fighter capable of causing real damage, making the bout anything but a guaranteed win for Pacquiao. Moreover, Jose Ramirez commented that a potential fight between Manny Pacquiao and Mario Barrios would be a major opportunity for Barrios, calling it a career-defining moment. For Barrios, stepping into the ring with a legend like Pacquiao could provide a significant boost to his profile and elevate his standing in the sport.
That's good. I mean, that's a good fight for Mario Barrios, you know.
Big payday, big fight. But can he win, or is it Pacquiao?
Adding another perspective, Gareth A. Davies noted that Manny Pacquiao has been offered a potential step-in opportunity by WBC President Mauricio Sulaiman, a move reflecting the organization's business-savvy approach. Davies, who has closely followed and reported on Pacquiao's storied career, emphasized how deep the ties run between the boxing legend and the sports power play, underscoring the calculated timing behind such offers.
Manny Pacquiao is 46. He's been given the step-in by Mauricio Sulaiman and the WBC, who are businessmen as much as sanctioning bodies. And I think in this instance, being a Pacquiao file as well, having covered him, like I said, for over a decade, and been to his flat in Los Angeles, and been to the Far East with him, covered all his major fights, got to know the man very well, all the big fights, and be around him and admire him and what he is, because he's known as the welfare state in the Philippines. There isn't one, but he's known as it. Hundreds of people queued at the wildcard gym for just an autograph or a moment with him.
However, Davies voiced his concerns over Pacquiao's potential return, firmly stating he's against the idea after a 4-year absence and a clear defeat at the hands of Yordenis Ugas, who in Davies' view didn't just win but outclassed Pacquiao. There's little justification for a comeback. Davies argued that the only visible motivation behind a return would be to generate funds to support Pacquiao's welfare initiatives and political aspirations, rather than any legitimate sporting purpose.
It's 90 yards. It's the longest outdoor Lido in Britain. It's like every time you do a length, it's like 100 meters. It's really long. So if you do 15 lengths, you've done really well. It's outside at Jesus Green. Do you know Cambridge at all?
Oh, I don't, Gareth. I don't.
Jesus Green Lido, and it's a really long Lido, and it's outdoors, and it's quite cold as well. So you've really got to battle. Why? So that's why I go at this time of night. And also
cold water therapy, actually.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
In addition, Gareth pointed out that Pacquiao's possible return highlights deeper flaws in boxing structure and governance. He argued that the WBC has no grounds to sanction him for a title fight after years of inactivity, calling it a clear example of the sport's administrative issues. Despite his criticism, Davies admitted he'd still watch the fight, underscoring boxing's enduring pull, even when its decisions are questionable.
What this does, it epitomizes the flaws in boxing and the administration of boxing. You cannot sanction him coming. You can sanction him coming back, but you can't sanction him. He's not even ranked in the top 15 of their of their groupings at the moment in the WBC. As you said, it's a shoe-in. It's a big money maker. It's utterly and totally wrong. I have nothing more to say about it. I will be watching it, of course, because that's what we do. Because people say it's hypocritical of us to watch it. If I have to go and cover it, I'll go. Exactly, but it's not something I really want to watch or want to see. I'm a little bit baffled. I'm sitting here actually talking about it because it feels a bit surreal to be talking about Manny Pacquiao coming back and fighting again in a serious contest against a young stud who's a world champion for the welterweight crown.
On the other hand, Adam Catterall expressed that he would never fault a fighter for stepping back into the ring, recognizing that the drive to fight is a deep, personal calling that defines their very purpose. However, he raised concerns about those in Pacquiao's inner circle and those running the WBC, suggesting they might be acting out of self-interest rather than providing the honest, protective guidance Pacquiao needs at this stage of his life and career.
I'm never going to have a go at a fighter for wanting to fight, because that is the fire that is inside them, that is their calling to life, and that is what they've always wanted to do. I look at the people that are around this fighter that are supposed to love and care for him, and are maybe not giving him the right advice in this particular moment, and maybe thinking about themselves rather than him and his health. And I absolutely look towards the sanctioning body of the WBC. I think it's a move of greed. I think it's disgraceful that they are allow a fighter that has been absent for 4 years to leapfrog all those fighters just because of his profile and just because of the revenues he can create, and therefore you then benefit from your sanctioning fee of 3% every single time this man fights. I think he's absolutely diabolical that they are allowed to do this, and they are allowed to put this man in this position. It's a kick in the teeth to every single fighter in that division that has been paying those sanctioning fees and doing it the right way. The people that are supposed to love and care for the sport and look after the sport need to do a better job. It's absolutely ridiculous that they're sanctioning a world title fight for the man.
Whereas Pacquiao's trainer, Justin Fortune, backed the matchup with Mario Barrios, noting that Barrios is a champion and makes for a solid opponent. He urged fans not to count Pacquiao out due to his age, emphasizing that Manny still carries serious power, speed, and a wealth of experience that can't be overlooked. He added that if Manny won the fight, it would not be a surprise.
Yeah, Barrios is champion, so it's a good fight.
WBC champion.
Don't count Pacquiao. Everyone's counting Pacquiao out because of his age. It's like a bunch of haters, man. He still has tons of power, tons of speed, and a shitload of experience.
If Manny wins, would it shock you or no?
No.
But it would shock the whole world.
It would shock the world, but he wins.
As the countdown to Manny Pacquiao's potential return intensifies, the boxing world finds itself split between nostalgia and concern, with viral training clips rekindling memories of his prime and voices from across the sport weighing in. The stage is set for what could be one of the most polarizing comebacks. Let us know in the comments below. Is this a legendary final chapter or a step too far? Don't forget to hit that like button if you're riding with Manny, and subscribe for all the latest updates. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss a beat.